Hey! It should be streaming now. Alright. Let's go. There we go. Okay. We're live. We are live. Okay. There we go. Alright guys. I'm back with you now. So now we go in and paint some Doomfist. If anyone's here, come ask me questions, tell me things, so I can feel like I'm not alone. Feel free to do that. Today we're joined by Unhealthy Gummy Candy and Tea. Yep. Hey man. Alright, let's get into painting this guy. So far, kind of laid out the base colors. I have the general idea going on. Oh yeah, man. I mean, sometimes I get annoyed by, you know, sometimes you just gotta relax. It's either like, what's worse? Feeling the pain in your head or seeing things? How have you been, man? Michelangelo. Which was the one guy who couldn't draw breasts? I'm trying to remember. I think it was Michelangelo. I'm not sure. Like there was one guy that I forgot from all the old Renaissance masters that just didn't understand breasts, like female breasts. Like either because he was like gay and couldn't get like female models or something, but yeah, he would just like paint all the females as just like dudes with bags of meat attached. Like it was very obvious that someone did not study breasts. I wonder if no one ever told him that. Shift change at work. Yeah, I've been trying to figure some stuff out. Like specifically with streaming, it's been kind of annoying because I do want to have a camera, but it needs a USB port, so I've been trying to get like a USB thingy, dongle, and now I have it, and I don't have to suffer. But mostly I've just been trying to do stuff. See, for me it's like really the issue is like that I have to make myself draw all the time, because when you don't have like good like discipline or motivation or whatever, it's a bit of a challenge. Well, they didn't do porn, they like studied cadavers. I have a belief that porn existed always, just like not in the same way. Was it like Sherlock Holmes or some movie that kind of briefly touched upon the idea of pornography coming out when cameras started appearing? I think it might have been Sherlock Holmes, like the Guy Ritchie one. Nah, it's not like exactly like like a must see. I like I love Guy Ritchie and I love his movies. I haven't seen the newest like whatever King Arthur, but I love his style, and I definitely like the worst thing that happened to his Sherlock Holmes movies is that it kind of came out almost at the same time with the Sherlock series on BBC. And if not for that, it might have been more successful. Because it's not bad, it's just like a vastly less intriguing depiction of Sherlock. He kind of like introduces Sherlock Holmes, like as played by Downey Jr., as like some kind of a superhero. Like that's how my friend described it like a while back. Like he's not so much like a super intellectual as much as he is like a like his intellect is like Batman level of superpower. Like in the movie he does this thing when like how they show it, his like the time slows down, he sees the guy and he's like, okay, if I do this, punch here, then push here, then do this in like 3 movements, he'll be decapitated, like, or something like that. And then he does it. But how he actually does the mental process, that's like showing his like thinking. But it's very like action oriented Sherlock Holmes, so to speak. And there's not a lot of that shit. But that said, they use that to do the coolest thing in the second movie when he's actually facing Moriarty, who's like supposedly the only person who can like level Sherlock Holmes in mental process. Like when Sherlock sees Moriarty and they're about to fight, he goes into slow-mo and like, okay, first I do this, then I punch him there, and then he'll fall down. And then like the voice of Moriarty starts in the same slow-mo and he's like, not so fast. And then he like talks back at him in the slow-mo to counter his thinking. And it's like showing how he's like the only one who can keep up with the thought process. It's like a cool thing. Like I like when movies and TV shows like establish like rules to show off something and then they break them for a good effect. Like recently something like that happened in the House of Cards TV series. Like in House of Cards, you have like Kevin Spacey, and he's like Hannibal Lectering you. He like because he's such a like a two-faced politician character. He's like very untrustworthy, and he always talks like in a character. It's like, come on, you know that's blah blah blah. Like, you must appeal to your sensibilities, and it's always bullshit. But like he's never actually saying like what he means. So that's why they have this like thing when he turns to camera and gets like really honest, and he's like, these fucking people, I hate them, I wish them death. Like and you're like, okay, you're like a sociopath. And the coolest thing is, like in the last season, his wife Claire, like at one point when she's alone, she just turns to camera, and before that for like 4 seasons only Kevin Spacey did this, when he like everything stops and he turns the camera to talk to the audience. And this time, Claire turns to the audience and is like, just so you know, I've always known you've been there. I was just never sure if I could trust you. Like, and you're like, fuck! Shit! That's like a cool thing. I like that kind of thing. It's kind of really hard to pull off. I think, like in video games, Kojima can do something like that. Like breaking, like setting up expectations and breaking them for effect of like usually of creepiness or something. It's like a cool way to deal with things. I would recommend it, yeah. And it's meant for binging. It's like they upload every season, like all, like every episode at the same time. So it's like it's asking to be binged. I haven't seen like a single season of House of Cards in any other way other than binging it. Like I exclusively binge House of Cards. I mean, it's you gotta like kind of stay slightly patient with it because it's following like kind of like, well, I don't want to say realistic, but more of a realistic pace. Like it's not like he's gonna murder everyone like every episode. Like if there's a murder, you gotta expect that they're gonna be talking or thinking about that for like seasons. It's still more exaggerated than like than you'd expect from a political drama, but it gets like pretty far with like how realistic it gets versus how dramatic it gets. I dig it, mostly because the character is fucking brilliant. Anyway, so here's what we're doing. So I've established like a basic Doomfist palette, but I don't feel good with it just yet. So I'm gonna be still playing with the colors. Like I'm okay with like his fist so far. It's like all gold and cool, but I'm not so super sure about like everything else. So I wanna play with that more. He has a weird shotgun glove. Well, it's see, I have a friend who doesn't want to watch it because of politics, like because it's the subject of politics. But here's the thing: you gotta understand that politics is a vehicle. It's like Breaking Bad. See, the thing is, I hate drug-related shows. Like I don't think I'll ever watch Weed or Weeds or whatever it's called because I just don't care. But it's more of a like that's how they got there rather than like that's why they're there, you know? It's like really it's about characters and what they do. Frank Underwood, Kevin Spacey's character, he doesn't want to be in politics. He wants to be in power. That's why he's in politics, you see? Which is why like you get all of that stuff happening. So like if he's like really talking about politics, it's really because he wants that power. Oh, also I've started listening to an audiobook. Finally got around to it. My favorite dude, Yatsu Krosha, the one who does Zero Punctuation. His book called "We'll Save the Galaxy for Food." It's kind of funny. I love the. I don't know how people do it. Like I'm not capable of doing it, but when people manage to get just like there's one thing when you're funny because you're putting jokes in, and it's another thing when you're funny because you make a funny situation, you know? Like, I don't know how he does it. It's really cool. See, like, here's my issue. It makes sense with values. Like, you see how it works. But with colors, not so much. We'll Save the Galaxy for Food is about, like, it's like, it's trying to get back to, like, the sci-fi comedy works. Like think, like, Red Dwarf. What's that famous one? You know, the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. It's that kind of thing. The plot is about how in the future there was a time where space pilots were basically heroes because when people started like flying into space, they were basically cowboys. You know, like discovering life and doing all that shit. But then like immediately, very fast, scientists discovered like a space wormhole travel or some shit. And basically all of them kind of went out of business at that time. Hence the title, We'll Save the Galaxy for Food. And basically all pilots end up like offering services of like going on tours. See if I can use this brush for fun. Yeah, like they go on tours, and like for tourists who want to experience a glimpse of what it was like in the wild west of space. Yeah, but it has like a kind of cute premise when you start reading it. Like without giving anything away. Our main character ends up finding himself in like a perilous situation. Man bun. Dude, okay, true story. When man buns were like mimetic, like everywhere, I was like, how the hell do you even do it? And I tried and I failed. Like my girlfriend managed to do it once, but I have like I don't know. Like I looked it up, I tried, and it just doesn't work. Like I'm not skilled enough to man bun my hair. Like I almost actually unironically want to do it because it seems like it would work to do what it's supposed to do, which is like keep your hair out of your eyes. But I just like can't manage to get it working. One con of working with this palette is that it's kind of like so dark that my eyes get tired of it, and you start like kind of like becomes like muddy, so you don't really see what you're doing. Like at which point you almost consider just switching it up. Yeah, man, we all have our weird strengths and weaknesses. And then, if I can't paint Doomfist is still under question, as far as I'm concerned. Like, see, the thing is, like, I have, like, this, like, weird insecurity because, like, I'm not quite sure if I wanna stream something. Because I'm not, like, exactly sure if I will be satisfied with the result. And, you know, you have, like, I think everybody has that. Like, you don't know if you're cool with showing something that you're not 100% sure about. And that's the thing. Even if people think it's cool, you might not think it's cool. You're like, it's not like the best. So you're like, it's not working out. I'm not a fan. Like how I might not be right now. But it's kind of okay. No time. See, I want to like do these kind of things quickly and move on with my life. I don't actually care enough. Like, fancy background is for illustrations, but then again, it's not a fancy background. If it's an illustration, then it's not a background so much, it's like, it's the scene. With these kind of illustrations, really, like, what is the background? The background is whatever you want it to be. The background is just so it's not like a plain white, I guess. I mean, Doomfist is cool and all. It's just like, you know, like this is the weird thing about me. As much as I actually do like Overwatch, I just don't, I don't know, like I can't bring myself to do fan art of it, really. Maybe it's the style. Maybe it's me like not being brave enough and pursuing what I would actually do. Like, you know, like sometimes you see like a style that something's in and you're like, well, that's their style, and you try to do it and it's not working out because it's not your style. But in the end, really, like, you gotta like kind of feel it out and do what you would do. So yeah, and I'm like not even sure if this is what I'm doing right now. Like it's kind of like similar to what I normally do, but I'm feeling like I'm kind of not quite there yet with my colors. Let's see. At this point, actually, it might be a good idea to bring in some references for colors specifically. Just, so I have some kind of thing to look up to. Like in some cases, like the issue might be that my color is not quite as unified as I'd like, because I looked at a lot of my work and I have this tendency of, even when I'm going like crazy, I prefer to colors to sort of be all together, and if it's not, it's just like not quite what I want. Actually, let's try and do that here. We will apply like a cheat method. But we'll see how far we can push this. So I'm going to use this gradient map layer and see what I can do. And what I'll do, we'll pick a... Yeah, let's start with this. This seems like a good place to start. So we're building up a palette. That's the idea. Hello! Alright, so we have like this interesting, weird palette going on. Let's see if we can like apply it and do something interesting. See, it's not like enough for me. So let's abandon that. Try something else. Go like more traditional with our methods. Like in the game, more powerful in the game. I haven't tried it. I just saw like some people play him. Like, lore-wise, he sounds like she should be like a super powerful dude, but who cares about that, really? Like, in the game. I mean, I don't think he's crazy. I think he's just, like, ideologically, like, driven. Like, you know, like some kind of, like, Marxist revolutionists. That kind of thing. Like, he believes that humans will achieve greatness only through conflict. Which is an opinion, I guess. Like, maybe he would have voted for Trump, you know? But, I'm just saying, like, I think he's not insane. I think he's just, like, some kind of anarchist. Like a strong, driven, anarchic person. I don't think he's insane. Like, in terms of Blizzard games, I buy that Illidan is insane. You know, like, he's driven by power, much like Kel'Thas, I think, or whatever his name is. But, not so much. Like, this dude sounds more like a revolutionary. Not to me. Primary fire? In game mechanics? Yeah, I don't know. I haven't really checked. So, like, I'll probably check when it actually comes out. You know, I'll be like, oh, yeah. Like, see, that's the thing, though. In, like, when Orisa came out, I thought she was, like, OP as hell. Because, like, anybody else, I go into, like, practice range, and I, like, check it out. And then fucking, I go like, oh shit, Orisa is OP. Because, like, you just, like, you feel like D.Va when you shoot, and then you try and shoot those robots, and you're like, god damn, they're dead. But, like, it doesn't actually work like that in real life. It doesn't work like that in game. Because those shots are way harder to hit on, like, real opponents, on real people. So, while it feels better than, like, say, D.Va in there, it's not actually how it's gonna work in real life. Alright, so yeah, this is where we're gonna go with. Like, I like this blue. So I watched, like, a documentary just now about, it's called Beware the Slender Man. It's about that case where a couple girls killed their friend. Well, not killed, but tried to kill their friend because of Slender Man, because they bought into the myth. And it's about, like, how it happened and who are these girls and how did they buy into the myth. And I was really happy to hear, like, I thought it was gonna be, like, all about, like, blaming the myth, you know, like, oh, the internet is bad, girls are being seduced by these, like, stories, and now they're doing this shit. No internet for kids, right? But really, that's not the idea. Like, what the story pushes is more like, see, these girls are really kind of insane. And they are. One was diagnosed with schizophrenia. And one was... And she kind of, like, acts like it, too. She acts like a little psychotic bastard. Like, in the interview, she's like, why did you kill her? Why did you want to kill her? And she's like, it had to be done. Like, alright. Okay. That's how you roll, eh? Yeah, like, it's a good story that she survived. Good thing that she survived. It sounded like she was, like, very close to dying. Like, the knife missed a major, like, aorta by, like, a millimeter or something, apparently. Which is like, wow, you got lucked out. Good thing those girls were so incompetent. But yeah, like the documentary is fascinating because you hear about like how, well, while it's cool that there is this like copy pasta online and shit, and it's even somewhat okay if like kids enjoy it, the problem starts where you have like a crazy person, and a lot of people like start blaming the parents. But the thing is, the parents were kind of caught off guard too, and like if you listen to them, unless they're like straight up lying, which I don't think they are, it's like they just like kind of like hit it really well, so to speak, you know? Like sometimes with people who are clinically have an issue, you just never understand the extent of it, you know? Like even if you like suspect that something's off, you will never know how far they can go. And if like a little girl like comes up to you and just like hey man, I saw Slender Man, you're like, that's cool, kid, that's cool, and you don't think much about it, but then they go and decide to kill another girl. I mean, yeah, like one of my best artist friends turns out to be like a completely paranoid, almost like I don't know what he had. Like he killed himself. I was in such shock. I was like, what the fuck? I actually thought people were fucking with me for like a couple days. Like for 2 days I was like, that's bullshit. He'd never do that. And then like, yeah, he did. Like I spoke to the family and they were like, yeah, that's a thing. And you're like, whoa. Like I have felt something, but it didn't quite felt like you know, go kill yourself type of thing. So you're like, how the hell? Like it never quite felt that way. Like in some cases, what I'm saying, like unless they're like really disturbed or you're like lucky or some shit, that you will not see it coming until it's too late. And I suspect that's what happened with these like parents and these kids. Like no one could quite see it coming, you know? Kind of like this. Slightly green. You know what I feel like doing fan art off right now? Well, not right now, but like soon. I kind of want to do some Bioshock Infinite, some Elizabeth. I've been kind of getting into it. Like I saw it was on sale on Steam, and I was like, you know what? I haven't played that in a while. And I'm revisiting that thing. It's you know, it's fun. I'm playing it on like on a harder difficulty than I did before to make it, you know, different. See if I can pull off this lighting. This might be a little bit too much. Well, I'm not sure about pinup, but definitely some Elizabeth. She definitely has like not a pinup potential, but I don't know if I want to do that. She's like a little bit. Her character doesn't really feel like pinup-y to me. Maybe it's because like you identify so much with Booker that she becomes kind of your daughter in the process. Like, I identify with, like, she's your baby. But what I want to say is that, like, listen, I remember enjoying that game way too much. Like, I get that, like, a lot of people have issues with it and a lot of people have criticisms that are a lot of them are valid, but goddamn, that game is beautiful and I love it. It's so great. Like, here's my thing. Like, the first time you go into the tower you see Elizabeth for the first time, and then, like, the songbird comes to, like, you know, like, wreck your shit up. Like, that whole, first of all, that music track with, like, the violins going and the cowbell, like doing this, like, super rhythmic, like, intense percussive pattern, and then, like, when everything goes, like, explodey and you, like, jump on all these, like, sky railings and escape while the songbird is chasing you, that's, like, it's completely, like, narrative. It's super not, like, interactive. Like, it's basically a glorified cutscene, but oh my god, it's, like, the most fun I've ever had in, like, a predetermined game sequence. Like with that music and the chase, it's so good. It's the best. How did I get into art? Thanks for asking me such great questions that that people like me really want to answer. It's well, I mean, when I was a little kid. No, when I well, I mean, let's get to the professional part. When I was in school, I went to school, like, I went to UNLV, like, University of Nevada, Las Vegas, and I was studying music composition. So I was a composer, like string quartets and shit, and I was really into that. However, as you know, like, when you start, like, doing school, like, a lot of the times the people who go to universities, they don't quite, like, if they're young, they don't understand, like me, like, I'm talking about myself here, they don't understand how this, like, applies to real world. Like, you go there and you, like, sort of like, okay, I'm just gonna do something important, I'm gonna study something great. So I chose to study music composition, which, like, in a lot of cases, that's like a person going to, like, do social studies, you know, like not to be political here, but, like, that's how a lot of people go and study, like, do, like, women's studies or some shit like that, and then, like, cry about not having a job. That's, like, basically what I did, because when I was studying composition, I realized that I don't know how to make money, and my whole life I've been just, like, studying, you know, studying, just like being like a school kid, basically. It's like studying this, studying that, and then eventually, like, 2 years into it, you, like, sit there and you're studying composition and you're sitting with your teacher and your teacher is giving a critique, like, your string quartet is great, this part is not so much, and this part, and you're, like, listening to all that, like, that's all great and all, but even if this was, like, amazing, I still don't know how to do, like, anything that would actually bring me money, and I'm, like, 2 years into this and I'm now getting terrified. like you just start getting, like, scared, like, especially if you have, like, a parent like mine. Like, my dad was like, yeah, I'll help you, like, get through school, but then you're on your own. And I'm like, that's cool, like, that's all you need, you just go to school and then you're, like, fine, right? But then suddenly you realize what that means when you're actually, like, getting close. You're like, oh my god, I'm still nowhere close to actually figuring out how to how to be like independent and how to earn money. Like, holy shit, am I making a mistake? Was my dad right? No. And then like, you know, at that point you start freaking out. But see, like, the thing that I was dissatisfied with like music, I really like composing stuff, but I really didn't like anything else. I didn't like playing music. I didn't like playing guitar. I didn't like performing. I didn't like I thought it was like, performing is for those who care about performing. I just want to write shit. And I mean, there's like room for that, but also I didn't want to write for like movies, because like it was like, oh, that's too much of bullshit to deal with. And I didn't want to write like pop songs. I didn't want to perform shit that I do, and I had like real trouble being social, so I couldn't get anyone to like record and produce my own shit, which was like, that's when I also realized that if you really want to be an artist, you kind of have to be social, because that's where a lot of your strength will come from other people, because you know, if you want to record something, you need people to record that. Or if you want to be like a do it all yourself, you need to care about that. And I really, really hated working in like all of those like production studios and programs and software. It was always such a pain. Like, you know, it's like dealing with printers but worse. And so yeah, that was my issue. And I was like kind of getting like really scared, because like, oh my god, I don't know what to do. Like, I like writing music. I like writing little black dots, you know, on paper, but shit's not getting me anywhere close. And at the same time as I'm realizing that, you know who doesn't have this shit? Artists. Like, it's not like they gotta like go and ask all the colors in the painting to come and like make your painting happen. They just sit down and do this shit. Worst case scenario, they actually have to go to the shop and buy paint if they're like into traditional art. And at the same time, I started discovering like I was going online and discovering like cool art and like great artists who like do concept art and shit, like discovering like amazing work. And like it's like important to say that a long time ago I was like kind of into drawing, and I kind of forgot about that and stopped doing that. Like, I had like a little tablet, like an Intuos or something, like so I like basically like on my days off I started getting into that just as a sort of like a hobby, because it was just kind of interesting. And then like at one point I saw work by Chris Newman, who is my sadly deceased friend now, and I was so moved by his art that I was like, dude, fucking, I gotta do this shit. I gotta try and do this shit too. It looks so awesome. Like, you know, it was almost like a moment when you see something so unbearably cool as a kid that's like not necessarily as cool as an adult. It's just like, you know, like Linkin Park or some shit. It was like that. Like, you couldn't stop thinking about it. Yeah, so I just basically like on my days off when I like didn't do anything, I would just like, oh, and also like in some lectures or in some places where I was just bored, I just doodled stuff. I just brought a pencil and I doodled it because I wanted to do something with my hands. And one down, I have more. And so like I kind of got really interested in it, just to the point when I wanted to improve. Like, I don't care about art yet to the point when I want to be like doing it professionally, but I just like it so much that I can't stop but try, because it's so cool. Like it just inspired me a lot, like seeing the art of that guy. And eventually, when I was like in a bad place and I had to stop studying, at that point it didn't matter. I was just like, well, who gives a shit? Like, I'm not like gonna make money as a musician anymore. Like, it's like definite, because I'm not even gonna be able to finish my degree like all the way. So I just kind of like didn't know what to do with myself, and I started painting like online. And that's when I kind of started getting like really like better and advancing. And eventually when it kind of like came to like you got to do something, I was like, well, I'm already doing painting, let's see if I can make it more serious. So that's how it happened. And then like, well, I mean, because I was like in such a desperate place, you start researching all this shit, like how to get work, how to actually like you start learning about like what are art freelancers like, what do they do, like look people up, like try and research, like learn who is a professional artist, how did they get there, what do they do. And like now it seems to me like it's just like common knowledge, but honestly, like, if I think about it, I spent like some years like absorbing all information I could find online about this stuff, which really isn't that hard. Like there's a lot of resources to learn about art. I'd say it's like better than going to university or something in some cases, like no contest. But basically, yeah, like, and then you just like try and fail and try again and fail again and like keep doing that. And I'm still like failing and trying. It's just like now I'm kind of like more secure about myself in some cases and trying more. Like there was a time when I was like, not so long ago, when I was working in a restaurant. That was my like day job while trying to do art in the meantime. But it was like really hard. I got some savings to try and like not do it for a while, which is where I am right now. Trying to do everything I can to just to do that full time. Droplets. I mean, that's as good a motivation as any. It's just like at one point. See, usually, I don't know, like people are different. Some people like progress to decisions and stuff like naturally. Like I've just been doing this for so long and now I guess I'm just doing it, you know? But in some cases you just need like a serious, like, you know, moment to sort of like push you. Like imagine like you're like, I mean, would Batman become Batman if his parents didn't die, you know? Like, maybe, because there had to be a person inside of there that's like that. But maybe he wouldn't quite go, like, as dramatic, you know? Maybe he needed his parents to die to go that far. So I need my parents to die to go that far, so to speak, you know? Not, like, literally. But, like, one of the most like influential people in like fantasy and like just freelance art environments is like Dave Raposa, who's like he's doing like Steve Lichman with his friend, like his old art friend. They've been both like doing freelance for quite a while, and now they're like trying to do their own thing, like a comic, which is what they're doing. So basically their like whole idea, like his idea was like he was like in a similar situation. He couldn't get work for like the longest time because of some legal troubles. So he decided that like while he has time, he'll just study art very, very hard. Like there's like a schedule of his flying around online that showed like how much he put into it. Yeah. But his like story is that like he had to put himself in like a crazy environment where he had to succeed or just like he'd die or some shit. Like, well, not necessarily die, but like, you know, like he took like loans and stuff to make himself work, so he has no choice but to pay those loans off, you know. That was like his idea, and it worked for him. And I feel like I'm that kind of guy. Like I need some kind of like push If I'm comfortable, I might never get there, you know. I have suspicion that I'm like that. Sometimes you need a push, like, you know, like some kind of problem that is like fuck, I'm gonna die, like like all these like medical bills or something, some kind of bills usually is the push. Like I really have to work hard and try to make ends meet, or I'm just gonna be fucked, you know. Sometimes that's what it takes to make a person do shit. It's kind of like unfortunate, but usually that's what it needs to be, because not a lot of people have like the drive or like the discipline to just do it, because you do need a lot of discipline. Let's see. Go and sell your art or do like commissions. We should have quit a while ago, but I got too far just to quit. Lighting a fire under your butt and just accepting you're going to burn. Yeah, basically. I mean, I almost did that. Essentially, this is like what I'm doing right now. I'm not like working a day job. I might go back. I don't know if I'm succeeding like quite yet, you know. Hope that I am, but you don't know. I mean, the thing about being a professional artist, you're a professional artist when you say you are, you know. And like, it depends what you mean by professional. Like, what is professional to you? What is not professional to you? Like, if professional is just like a status symbol for somebody, like, oh, he's not a professional artist, why not? Well, he doesn't have enough followers. Like, well, sure, but so what? You know? Like, oh, he's not a professional artist, why? He's not good enough. Well, what about all these artists who are quote-unquote not good enough but are professional? What about them? Are they not professional? You know, like, oh yeah, but it's not like it's fair. Well, it doesn't mean anything. It's just a label. Going into the art industry, well, what is the art industry? Like games and stuff? I mean, I thought about it, and depending on what your definition is, I am part of it. Like, if I take commission of like doing like a book cover or something, that's me being a part of the industry. Like of a graphic novel or something. You know? If it's like an independent project on Kickstarter, that's still you being part of the industry. It's just like, it's nothing big, you know? Like, I don't want to go into like, well, it's not that I don't want to go. I probably would if I could, but I also actually cannot. Like, because of like legal issues, I cannot work officially in like a studio or something, which is why I'm forced into freelance. Well, yeah, like that's what I want to do, but it's just like the definition. Like, I do work for the industry. Like, when I need to, I take commissions, I do illustrations. Like, what I love doing the most is like doing illustrations for like stories or comics or stuff like that. Like the perfect job for me is like a cover for a book, you know? I love that shit. Not for like a book, for like a comic would be the best. Unfortunately, it's like really hard to get there, but you know, we're gonna get there eventually. Like, we'll try to do the best we can. I can't work in a studio because to work in a studio you gotta be able to be legally employed, And when you're not a citizen of a country, you cannot work. And as of now, still, I am not the citizen of the United States. And because of that, I am not in a condition, like in a context where I can be employed. You know? Because they're like, it's just like how things work, you know? Like if that would ever change, I would totally do it. Like if I finally get my like permission to work and stuff. How come? Well, then apply for citizenship. Do you know how that shit works? Do you think it's easy? Like, do you think I can just do it? No, man. I mean, I'd love to. I'd fucking do it. But it's not exactly just do it. First of all, just so you know, the queue for that, the wait for that, is like decades. The line for that is like decades in the future, and the only way to kind of like make it faster is somehow if you have like a family or something, or like you're marrying somebody. Like, I do have a family here, which is why I'm here, that are like officially here and they can work, but unfortunately that does not apply to me just yet. Like, I have to go through procedures, which is like very hard and very like iffy, especially since like it's questionable if I can even do that, since like I'm old and my family is not exactly in a position to do that just yet. So it's like a lot of waiting, a lot of bullshit that I have to like deal with if I want to stay. I can't go back either, because fuck that. Yeah, it's not that easy, man, unfortunately. It's just like, that's the issue. I mean, I'm not like blaming people for not knowing, but it's actually really hard. That procedure is really hard. The US really doesn't want anybody to become a citizen. Especially now. So like, you gotta really mean it. Like, if you're marrying somebody, you really have to be basically marrying somebody. I thought about it. I thought about like I have a friend who's like, hey man, what if we just like, hey, it's legal to marry like in a gay relationship in this place, like where he's from. Is like, why don't we just do that? Like, jokingly. But then my family was like, if you do that, we'll murder you. I'm like, okay, I guess I'm not doing that then. Well, yeah, I mean, I am like not Mexican, so I'm not like exactly the number one hated minority when it comes to like Trump's administration, I guess. But I mean, really, it's just like way too high to really concern me at the moment. It's just like I'm in this limbo of legal issues that are not exactly all because of me specifically, you know. So I'm just like, I gotta like sit tight and wait until something happens a lot of the time. And while that's the case, I can't like go, like, even if I go to a studio, you know, and I'm like, hey, can I work with you? They'd be like, oh cool, we love your portfolio. Okay, let's go proceed with the application. And then at some point they'll be like, can you show us your ID or something? Like, or like, what's your social security? Like shit like that. And that's when I'm like, I don't have anything. And they'd be like, oh fuck, you know. That's why freelance is the way, because freelancers, like, you can like be in India, you know, and no one would care, because that's what the point of freelance is. They're like looking for contractors, but it's also harder because of that. Like why would we bring you in if we have Johnny here, who's like right next to us, and he can come to work every day, you know? Well, I mean, that's the case for like big studios usually. Lesser things, different story. but it's kind of hard to just find them, you know, even if they would accept you. Like, I'm trying to reach out to, like, magazines, shit like that. Try to find my place, my clients. That's what I do. And just, yeah, taking occasional commissions. Whenever there's, like, a client who can afford it. Comic candy. Let's fuck with it a bit. Yes. Yes. Well, it depends. My rate depends on who's asking. Like, if it's a private commission, that would be one thing. I have my private commission rate somewhere online. Generally, it's like a full illustration would be like around 200. Maybe more. Probably more. But, yeah. If it's because, like, see, that's the thing. It depends on how much your time is worth, how much is the work worth to the client, you know. If it's just like a little private commission of a character, you can't, like, charge them a lot because they don't, like, yeah, it's a luxury item, so to speak. But they're not, like, gonna use it for their business, you know? Yeah. So you charge them, like... Well, yeah, you gotta get over that. I mean, like, you gotta get to the point where you just, like, good enough. See, this is how it works. You gotta charge a good rate... And if no one's buying, you're just not good enough. But you can't make yourself like, am I good enough? Am I not good enough? Because then you start like with the bullshit. Like, when are you gonna be good enough? You know, what is good enough? Because you're never gonna think that you're good enough. Do I think I'm good enough? No. Every artist is the same. Every artist is like, I'm shit. Shit. Don't look. My art is poop. Every artist is like that. And every art director is like... Because the art directors know what they're worth. They're paying them. I mean, usually like people who start working professionally kind of get over it because they're just like... I mean, they've been doing this for some time, so they're just over it. But every artist is like going through like, I'm poop. I'm not good enough to charge money. Well, here's the thing. This is like a little secret. Like, because we all have like these things, like... This is like a weird thing to say, but all of us, the artists, we're concerned with quality. We think about like the art and the quality of art. We're like, is this quality art? Is this not quality art? Is this art worth something? Is this art not worth this? And then like someone comes in, like, and they're like, commission's open, and you look at them and you think like their art is shit. They're not worth much, but they're like, my commissions are open and I'm charging $200 per character, right? You're like, that's bullshit. No one's gonna do that. Then someone comes in and pays that. What do you think now? Do you think like the person who paid her is an idiot? No, right? That's unfair. I mean, you might think that, but that's not correct. See, the correct answer is like the art is worth whatever is what people are worth, like willing to pay for it. If there is some client out there that is willing to pay you money for it, that means it's worth exactly as much as you're charging for it. How much is Mona Lisa worth? Like the Leonardo painting, right? A lot of money. But is it worth exactly like $20 million or $30 million? How do you determine? You don't. Like, what's the biggest amount that someone is willing to pay for it is how much it costs, you know? That's how it works. There is no like metric. There is no like line. Like, how much is this doodle worth? If someone's gonna pay like $200 for this on the spot right now, it's worth $200. If no one's willing to pay it like anything for it, then it's worth nothing. There is no like expert to come and tell you how much something is worth. Like, there are experts who will tell you how much you should be charging depending on who's buying and like who you think is gonna buy it. But no one is gonna be like, it is or isn't worth this. Apart from historians, you know. But who cares about them? We're gonna be dead by then, you know. So basically what I'm really saying is like, have you ever like seen designers charge obscene amounts of money for a logo? And you think about like, how the fuck are they paying this much for a logo while I'm like drawing way more complicated images and I can't charge even like a little bit? Well, it's because the people who are charging obscene amounts of money for a logo are doing that for people who need it a lot and need it to be like very good. Logos are kind of worth more because companies and corporations need logo, you know, and to them a good logo is worth a lot more than like a good painting to somebody. Like, who needs paintings now? Yeah, it's more than a face. It's like everything. If you fuck up a logo, you fuck up like so much more than just like a painting. Like, an illustration is worth a lot when it's like an important moment, you know, like when it's like a specific reason for an illustration to exist. It's the same reason. If the royal family orders a portrait from an artist, because you know, the queen, like the British queen or something, they're still doing that. They need that shit. If they order a portrait, that's worth a lot of money. So you can charge them a lot, not because they have a lot of money, but because it's worth a lot. Because they need that shit. Because they don't want someone to fuck it up. That's important, because it's like people are going to see that. It's historic. They do that for archival purposes too. They don't want it to be fucked. They want a good quality artist who knows what they're doing, knows how to present them in the best way. You know? McDonald's arches. Yeah. I actually don't know who designed the McDonald's style. I wonder. Oh, they're probably Probably doing pretty good. At least I hope so. But yeah, the basic idea is that okay. That's why concept artists charge a lot. Like they charge more than like people who do super complicated paintings out on the street, you know? Even though like concept art might be like very quick, very sketchy. And you can talk about how like it's because it's ideas, man. It's ideas are worth more. No. It's because whoever is hiring them needs like they need risks to be minimal. So they're hiring whoever is like the best. Whoever is the most expensive. Because that's one of the ways you see if it's like better. If someone's like, I'll do your... Imagine like you're, like, I don't know, like Blizzard. And someone's like, hey, I'll do your like game design concept art for like $50 a character. What do you think they're gonna think? That's an amateur price. We can't be sure it's good work. Why waste time and put it on like this dude who's probably not sure what they're doing? Let's just pay like more money for someone professional. Oh really? I didn't know. I didn't know they did it themselves. In that case, yeah. They are doing well. I mean, sure they're designed it, but they didn't like specifically worked out the design, because that's like when graphic designers come in. Okay. Yeah, something like that. Something like this. Well, they might have, they might have just like started with just like, we want our logo to, like, when you start yourself, when it's like just a simple like family business, when it's mom and pop shop, you don't need a good design, you need good product, you need good service. So that's easy. You can do that. You can figure that out. But good design costs money, so you can't have that. So usually you'll start with something simple. You'll like draw your own logo. You'll be like, that's my logo. But then like when you get big, you're like, okay, let's make ourselves look even more professional. Then you hire someone, and then you're like, be like, okay, so you have this M, let's make it even better. Because you don't want like completely redesign something. Then it becomes unrecognizable. Then it becomes alien. Like your clients will be like people who like go to the restaurant will be like, I don't know what this is. What is this bullshit? What happened to the good old like mom and pop burger shop? What happened to the M? I mean, probably not, because it didn't take a day for them to grow that big to need a logo. But yeah. Maybe. Look at this mad dude. It is so liberating to paint dudes because you don't have to concern yourself with making them pretty. I mean, that's not a cool thing to say, I guess, if you're concerned with, like, painting realistic women, but if you're just doing pinups, your goal is to make a pretty woman, a pretty lady, so you need a pretty face. That's kind of hard. Well, I mean, because the thing is, like, people kind of value things, like, the public values things that you might not necessarily value. Like, you value, like, style, or you value, like, content, or you value, like, just technique, you know. But people don't care about that. And even artists who will, like, be on the lookout, unless it's really good, unless it's, like, actually legit, like, great looking, like an amazing painting, they won't be like, oh, sweet, this is amazing, and like it. They'll like something that's mimetic. Not, like, necessarily funny, but, like, something that's relevant to them. It's if it's fan art, they will like it for that reason. If it's, like, sexy, they will like it because sexy is mimetic. Because people like sexy stuff. Like, whatever is the thing people are interested in, they'll like it. Like, to this day, my most famous thing so far is my my doodle of Wendy's on Twitter. I got, like, hundreds of retweets and, like, thousands of likes. It's not even that great. It's just, like, the most mimetic thing I've did. And that's fine. It's just how it works. Yeah, let me show you. I'm trying to find it. I'm gonna have to scroll a bit. Maybe this will be faster. 1 sec. No, I gotta find it because it's a little bit back. It's been some time since that was the meme. Let's see. Ah, found it. There it is. This is, like, can I make it bigger? It's online resolution. This was my quick little joke. Wendy's. Yes. A little funny Wendy's joke. Go back to what? To the Wendy's? Dude, I gotta paint this dude. I'm already procrastinating. Plenty. See, the problem is I keep, like, doing these late at night. Oh, sorry, man. Well, let me see. Let me see if I can open it or something. Oh, this is actually a better resolution. There we go. Yeah, it's like this is not exactly like great quality. It's like the most like fast-paced slapdash thing I've ever done. Whatever. You know. But it's the most like perfect mimetic storm. You know, it happened then when it was the most important. That's why it's like I probably won't like reach that level of exposure for some time. Well, that's okay. That's fine. That's just how things work. I mean, I'd love like to be the guy, you know, where it doesn't matter when I post or what I post. And people just love it because it's me. But unfortunately, that's like, it's a very hard place to get to. Well, see, it looks amazing to, not to me, because I like what I have as far as like what I'm looking for in like in quality. It's not the same. Hold on 1 sec. Okay. Like, is this good looking? I don't know. I don't think so. But it doesn't matter what I think. You know? Yeah, you just gotta like there is a point where like if you're like starting out, you do have to do quality, kind of like secondary to quantity. And that sounds wrong and people will disagree, but it's true. Because you need like set up expectations, meet them, and produce enough content just to get an audience, you know. That's why I'm doing these. Like, that's why I'm streaming. You know, do you think I want to stream? Like, let's go back to this. Yeah, I mean, granted, I would probably done better if I streamed at a different time, not like late at night, like what I do right now. It's better to do something rather than nothing, though. So that's why. But well, yeah. I mean, it's like a thing you gotta do if you wanna do something. I mean, it's not the only thing you gotta do. You could do something else as an artist, but see, what I want, what my like inner being is telling me is to go to bed, sleep a lot, eat a lot, die. That's kind of like where I'm at. But sometimes you gotta like suppress your thoughts, you know, and like follow a more logical, productive way of thinking, even if it's not your natural kind of thing. Do I want to stream? No, I want to die. Like, to some people it's terrifying too. Like, think about it. If they're antisocial or something. Like, I used to be really antisocial. I'm just like trying to not be that, which is why it's fine. Let's see where we're at. Let's do some more face. Let's go crazy in the face. How far can we go? This is pretty good. This is pretty close. Yeah, we can work like this. This is because usually like people forget you do need like a somewhat good resolution if you want to go harder into details. Oh, thank you. You're my knight in the shining silver armor. I really needed to hear that, man. But yeah, basically just let's see, I need some reference again. See if I can find some good male face. Not too anime, because I have a tendency. I have like a weird problem. I forget about faces. This will be okay. Like the problem being that I just don't care about faces. Like maybe I have some kind of psychotic thing inside me that's suppressing how much I care about faces. I don't know what you saw, man. Yeah, I probably saw like in like a little glimpse of my art reference folder. You can find this recording on YouTube when I post this later, and screen cap. I don't know. I just like save a lot of art reference from like other artists, and I'll look up to it. It's like an inspiration somewhat thing, just to kind of like go for like, this is the kind of quality we want to achieve on this or this image. That's how I think about it. Let's see. It's a little bit on the pretty side too. See, like what I end up like being with like arts and faces, like I usually go really hard, and like sometimes like I'll go ask my friends for help for like critique on what I do. And usually with faces, like it always ends up like being the same issue, so I just try to keep that in mind, like a person with like color blindness. Like face blindness. Because I always end up needing to push back and forth more. Actually, let's do that a little bit now. Oof, can't do that yet. So we're getting there. See, like on the bright background, you can't even see shit. I think that's better. Yes. Skrillex. Yeah, man, I'm Skrillex. This is my secret identity. I got bored with music. See, it all lines up. I got bored with music and got into art. It's funny because like right now I don't do music, but like a bunch of my friends, like I still have like a couple friends from like my music education. Like I don't talk much to them, but I still consider my friends. Like I went to the same classes with this guy. His name is Keegan, and he's in the electronica band Gypsy Danger. They good. They do good shit, man. If you like your dubsteps and electronica stuff, it's like a two-man act. You know. Check him out. Shout out to Gypsy Danger. There you go. That's yeah, but I dig them. I'm glad he does stuff. Showed up where? Like here? Like behind me? Yeah, that would be cool. I don't know, like I sometimes like interact with them on Twitter. They're cool. Like if you're into that kind of music, they're like, I guess they're like worth recommending. So see, this is how it works. You gotta push back and forth on the forms. So that's like the endless process until you kind of like get like really good at it. So like you don't have to do as many layers. Like eventually you just kind of like have a feel for the values, like where it feels alright and where it does not. And it eventually becomes like about balancing hard and soft edges. So like I want to have this edge to be really sharp, but here I want to kind of like make it softer in the top. Like I want this to be a thing, but it's too harsh. So we gotta like blend it out and push it back in and keep dancing like that. Back and forth. Also, I've been painting so many girl eyes that it's just kind of like hard to do dude eyes right now. It's like, what are eyes? How do dudes have eyes? With no makeup? Not really, because there are plenty of hard edges in real life. You just gotta know where. And it's like, special like in painting. I mean, of course there'll be like more hard edges with like less organic things, but it's more complicated than that. Like what would be an example? Well, okay, so it's not the question of how hard the edge is in reality, like, because painting is kind of like awesome now, because now we have cameras. Painting realistically is kind of obsolete, you know what I mean? Because why depict something realistically if you can just take a photo of it? So painting's job, like a painter's job, is different. You're not supposed to represent it realistically, you're supposed to represent it in the most like interesting way. So if you're doing a portrait or like a character even, you want edges to be softer the less important they are, like, because you're focusing on the face. Like, for example, like this character, I don't want to actually like paint him like really well, like really paint him out, because this is like a quick fan art really. But how do I put this? Candy. You want to like focus on the face the most usually, or whatever is the most important part. Like there's always going to be like the face and maybe like something else that is like the driving force behind the composition. So you'll want to push that the most. Like here's an example. This is a really hard edge and it's like an organic thing. It's a nose. But this is where it has to be hard, because it's not so much about, and here too, because we're really like pushing the forms, like because all like this is where all the like eyes are gonna go of the viewer, because this is the most important part of the piece. Like I don't care so much about this, because like yeah, you get that it's his arm and shit, but like these are like this arm down here and this like bottom is like the least important thing about him. Like I'd say secondary importance is this arm and like this chest probably, because this is like the lit area, and then like the most important thing is gonna be his face. So if like the most contrast, the most like strong hard edges, I want to be in the face. That's like why we're gonna be spending some time, you know, on the face, because you can't fuck it up. Everything else kind of like less important. I mean, it's still important. You can't like screw it up to the point where it's like not good or something. But like, see, if you're drawing a character that's a girl and it's supposed to be sexy, if you don't draw out, like paint out all of her like feet, like really like, you know, detailed, unless that's the whole point, like you're doing that kind of fetish thing, unless that's the point, it doesn't matter. You know what matters. Matters like the secondary sex characteristics and the face. Everything else is secondary, because that's the goal. That's what you're going for. That's your job, so to speak. If you're like usually people will look at the face. That's just an unfortunate thing. If you're like a psychopath like me and you don't care about faces a lot, I don't know what's wrong with me. I just like, faces are hard for me. Some people like drawing faces, spend a lot of time on it, you know, like portraits is their thing, which is fine. It's not like bad or anything. But if you're like into that, then you'll be like good, because usually faces is what people look for. But anyway, going back to edges. Edges have to be the most hard when it's like a very important detail in like an important area, like his nose or something. Like, because it's the face. people care about faces. Like, you can lose some edges, you can gain some edges, it's okay, it doesn't matter. But whenever you make the edge the harder, like the hardest, people will look at that. The most like contrasting, like say there wouldn't be any like shadow here, or the shadow would be really, really soft. Like, if anything, I should push the shadow even more, like do it like super dark, you know, like that's actually black. I don't have any black. I barely have any black in this image, but it feels like I do. Like, the harder the contrast, the more you like beg the eye to go look at it, you know. So where you want to push your viewer's eyes, where you're gonna make the hardest transitions and the hardest edges and all that shit, all that good stuff. Like, the most dramatic color changes too. I mean, it has to make sense, but see, like, this is a little bit too hard, but it does like make your eye go there. So we just gotta soften it. Like, if you're like painting, I would recommend like starting with like finding the one spot that's like you want like all eyes start going to that area, like a face or something, and then like just putting the most like two things, like the darkest area and the lighter like lightest area of that whole like a little section. You just put that in, and immediately you establish like your range. Like, see, now that I have this whole thing going on, and I kind of like know where I'm at. Like, this is the hard thing for me, because he doesn't have makeup. He's not gonna have makeup, so he's not gonna like have like lips that are like wearing lip gloss or some shit. But I do want his like mouth and stuff to be prominent, so I want to put more hard edge in it. Plus, another thing is, like, the harder the edge, the more it's like, the more you're kind of saying that you know what you're doing, so to speak. Like, there's more confidence in your painting when you have like very definitive strokes. Of course, I have to tone it down, because he's not a girl. If I like overdo it, it'll feel like he's just wearing lip gloss. It's just like a personal problem, because I'm so used to drawing girls. Did in their portraits for a while, focusing on them, you know, because you can just post portrait. Yeah, pretty hard to post just a body. Well, I mean, that's the thing. It is possible to just do bodies, but you gotta really be good at them. Like, generally, like anything. If you're like me, you like bodies. So you'll just like get best at whatever you get best at, you know. But yeah. Like, generally speaking, you just like, if you don't like it, you don't do it. So like, that's why faces are usually my biggest problem, because I don't like enjoy painting faces as much. But like, that's kind of changing now, though. Like, to be honest, I'm kind of like finding joy in it as I'm going along. But yeah, like, if you want a good face, you gotta like study it. It's like, you know, black and white, aren't even seen as colors, so everything would be red. Well, I mean, my colors are kind of like slightly out there. But you see, like, now that I switched to black and white, it looks fine. It makes sense. That's the whole idea. That's how it works. I mean, maybe it is time for me to start bringing out like super harsh black. For like darker areas. Just to really push it. Like, see, like, it feels like this area is black, but see how, like, you can see that it's not? So let's put some black in it. It's still not gonna go all the way into black, but just a bit. Just for contrast. Like usually contrast is like the most powerful tool you have as an artist. Most of the time it's going to be like the tool for you, you know? So if you can like put like black somewhere and next to something that's like almost white, that's going to be like where your eyes go look. Like if I want a hard edge somewhere just to push a form, usually that's like the time to do it. Yeah, you need to like do it everywhere, just in like strategically in a couple places. And you can always push it back. At least that's how I do it. I'm kind of satisfied with it as of right now, so I'm gonna just leave it be. You know, I actually, when I started painting, I did like black and white exclusively too. And when I was learning color, I just like did like baby steps, like kind of like that, just like black, white, and like one extra color. But if you think about it, that's like a lot already. You have how much pigment do you want in the red. You can do like, at this point you can do like something like a pink, you can do something like a dark red, and you can do it like colder or warmer. Like a very desaturated red looks like blue. Like a lot of people think it's blue when it's actually just desaturated red. So you just like do shit like that. Like you can already do a lot with just that. Yeah, now. Finally. Let go on the purple. Purplish. Like, painting is basically like a lot of pushing back and forth for me. Alright, let's switch gears and work on this thing for a while. So where are we? With that thing? His like thing, his whole like armor slash mechanized arm thing. First of all, is it just me or no one's like talking about how this is kind of like reminiscent of Jax from Mortal Kombat? I mean, he has like one arm. That's huge. Like, it's a black guy with a mecha arm. And he's all about punching. I don't know, it's pretty Jax. At least to me. Makes me think of that. Not that it's wrong or anything. But basically, like, whenever you have like mech arms, like, usually the implication is that it's attached to your body and you can like manipulate it as if it's part of your body. And that's kind of hard, because let's see, because usually it implies a lot of mechanized stuff going on. Like it's a very hip thing to have like things that look like artificial tendons. Like, if I think of Crisis, like the Crisis 2 or Crisis 3, or even the first one. Yeah, the first one had the suit. All of them had the suit. Like, if you look at the suit, it's like very much that. It's like kind of like meant to be sort of like organic but mechanized. And you can still see it in this design. Of course, that's not what I'm painting right now. I'm just painting all the gold fancy bits, because I like that. Speaking of, I have some music going into my ear. Let's see. If anybody wants to ask me anything, feel free. Just so I'll start talking about something. Let's see. What's with Blizzard and putting horns on things that are supposed to be evil? It's a little bit on the nose, don't you think? But then again, a lot of their stuff is on the nose, so really, eh. What time is it? Ooh. It's pretty late. How are we doing on the tea? Let's see. His arm is really complicated. Like, I don't want to really try and replicate it exact. Like, I don't know if it's worth it. Just like imply more. Don't want to overdo the light on these. Oop, I'm almost out of candy, guys. We're getting there. The snack stream. Alright, let's fix some of these. Okay. See, because this is like really a quick painting, I'm not trying to like render everything out. Like I feel like at this point I'm getting close to my goal, like most of the things I care about are done. So soon we might even say that we're either done or close to being done. Let's see if there's anything big we're missing that we could be working on. My head starts hurting for some reason. Gotta be all the candy, right? Okay, guys. Let's see. Alright. So I'm looking at the reference here. Like a couple things I still want to do. He has like a bunch of like cybernetic implants and like implants looking kind of stuff on his actual body. Like little plates and stuff. So I'm gonna like imply a bit of that. Just a bit. Like he has like this thing here. Let's see, like I'm trying to understand how this works. It's supposed to be on him. Like it's a weird plate thing. Like just a little detail here and there. A bit more saturation. Little fancy lights here and there. It's kind of cool. I can keep some of the lines just from the sketch, from the doodle, because it kind of like implies the same stuff. How he's supposed to have all these little unnatural android looking platings and stuff. Well, that's like the easiest way to like sort of like imply that someone is an android, and just like draw a bunch of lines on his body, make it look aesthetically okay, and just kind of like, you see, it's not like a human person. He has plates and stuff. Keep applying all these little details. Alright, now let's do something cool. See if we can do this. So he has like a line across his face. And it kind of like, does it extend on the thing? Not quite. See, I'm not actually gonna, like, I'm planning on not just, like, leaving it like that. Let's see if we can use a filter. Like something like that. Or like even less. What about yeah, I like that. Yeah, that's okay. Alright. Well, let's see. I think, apart from some of the details on the face, I'm satisfied. Like just the eyes. So we're gonna do that, and then we're gonna be good. Does anybody know what's his eye color? I'll have to look it up. Like the closest thing I've ever seen of him is the animation, which was pretty badass. Let's see. I like how they showed that, and like every single person is like crying out loud for the animation now. And I mean, yeah. So he has just like straight up brownish eyes, which in our case could be anything. See, like, technically the irises have to be the darkest thing ever, but like I said, painting, not necessarily realistic. Like, unless you're doing hyper real painting with like extreme close up, that they're not going to be pure black because of everything else around them. You don't want them even to be pure black. Like, they should be, in theory, because there's like no light going in there. That's what this is. It's a hole. I don't particularly want you to get lost in his eyes, so to speak. So I don't want to overdo it. Okay. Yeah, we'll just stay there for now. See, this is why it needs like a darker background, because if I turn it off, the silhouette looks fine. It's just like it's so dark that in contrast it just doesn't look like anything. Alright guys, thanks for coming. This is where I'm gonna stop for now. I'll probably like either finish it and post it tomorrow, or maybe like stream a bit more later. Let's see. Thanks for coming. Mwah. See ya.